we are very excited to welcome our first guest to the show this morning. They are an internationally acclaimed poet, comedian, public speaker, and actor, and you may have also seen their book, Beyond the Gender Binary, or appearance in Hannah Gadsby's Netflix special comedy, Gender Agenda. Alok Vaid-Menon is performing 2 sold-out shows in Seattle right now, but on the couch with me now is Alok. Thank you for being here, especially because you did a show last night.
I don't know how I'm here, honestly.
Honestly, thank you for being
All
here.
I can say is shout out to concealer. Yeah.
Seriously. Well, we're going to talk about which one you use because mine is not doing the job. So, okay, let's talk about the show. What can people expect from the show tonight at the Neptune?
Sure. It's my new stand-up hour that I somehow managed to write because with everything going on in the world, it feels really difficult to find laughter.
Yeah.
But what was motivating the show for me is that we can do something with funny that we can't with sad. So I was taking a lot of the pain I was feeling in the world and trying to express it through comedy.
You can do a lot of the funny and not with the sad. That is beautiful in itself. You really are a poet, which I'm going to ask you about in a second. But first, let's talk about your book, Beyond the Gender Binary. It invites readers to think about gender fluidly and fluidity, because I think that's something that isn't really top of mind. What do you see being beyond the gender binary?
So a lot of people think moving beyond the gender binary is erasing people's right to be a man or a woman, and that's not it.
Yeah.
What it's actually saying is that there are more options than just man or woman, and each person gets to determine who they are on their own terms. So it's not about erasing your right to be you. It's not as if saying, you can't be you in order for me to be me.
Yeah.
It's actually all of us get to be the fullest version of ourselves.
It's changing that perspective. What was it like discovering that you were gender nonconforming? How did that happen? How were you able to arrive at that place?
Unfortunately, I think like a lot of gender nonconforming young people, slurs were the first way that I knew I was different. So no one really asked me, who are you? Who do you want to become? It was, you're bad. And there were all these mean words that were used to describe me. So it was confusing and disorienting because the things that brought me the most joy and happiness were often the things that also made me the biggest target.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work I'm trying to do in the world is to just increase information and literature about these issues so that people have different pathways to their selfhood that's not mediated by their beliefs.
That is so important. It is so important. It's actually life-saving work, what you're doing. Let's talk about some of the things that bring you joy. Fashion. You are so fashionable. It's a big part of how you express gender. Where do you draw your fashion inspiration from?
Cartoon villains.
No, really?
Yes.
I love it. Who? Tell me who.
It's like him from the Powerpuff Girls. I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
I really also draw my inspiration from nature, which I feel like is always showing off.
Yeah.
So when people are like, oh, you're just too loud, I'm like, would you ever say that to a flower?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And constantly changing and metamorphosizing all the time.
Yeah.
And I also am so proud to be, my first kind of entry into the internet was as a style blogger. I used to make my friends in college, like every day before class, take my photo.
Really?
So I still keep up with a lot of style blogs.
How
I still
fun.
follow a lot of fashionistas across the world. And it's really helpful to see people who are dopamine dressing, so people who are dressing for joy and excitement.
Dopamine dressing.
Yes.
Okay, let's explain that again one more time. So it's dressing for joy and excitement,
Yeah,
right?
totally. I mean, the world is so banal, you know? And so why not add some panache and color and flamboyance? It's really about a life hack, making yourself feel immediacy of happiness whenever you look in the reflection.
Yeah. That's actually one of the things I love most about Seattle is when you come here, people think, oh, you're just going to dress down like you're going hiking every day. That's the joke, that everyone here dresses like they're about to spontaneously go on a hike. But the thing I love about it here, too, is that you can wear whatever you want and everyone's just, it's okay, you know? It's a great place in that sense. I want to talk now about your poetry. I dove into some of your poetry. It's beautiful because in one poem, which is kind of about a dinner party and you going there, you say, so often what keeps us proper is what keeps us from what is profound. Tell us about what you meant by that.
Yeah, I feel like we mistake the rules as reality, and that so often people are just living characters that they've been told that they should be, not actually expressing what they actually feel. I'm really bad at small talk. I'm quite allergic to it. And what being a poet has really enhanced my capacity to do is to really just be honest about what I'm feeling, about what's going on in the world. And so what I try to challenge myself to do is to not just write poetry, but live it. And living poetry means that there are no rules or norms. The only sort of governing logic of a poem is beauty. And so I try to bring that into every conversation.
Oh, that's beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, from your poem, On the Other Side of Shame, I just want to read the last 3 lines because they moved me. You say, because I'd rather be me than beautiful, because I'd rather be me than they're beautiful, because I'd rather be my own beautiful. I mean, it speaks for itself, but tell me what that was about.
Sure. I think we grow up with a very limited idea of what is beautiful, but I actually believe that being beautiful is about being yourself. Which means there's as many ways to be beautiful as there are people in the world.
Yeah.
And so much of the work that I'm trying to do is to encourage people to ask that question, what is my own kind of beauty? And other people might not get it, but that doesn't matter, because what matters is that you can look in the mirror and like what's there on your own terms.
Yeah. I want to go back to what you were saying about being an advocate. My uncle and my aunt, I should say, was transgender and died under horrible circumstances. Did not get to grow up with someone who spoke out, who looked like they wanted to be. How important is the work you do to others, to showing others and being that brave person for others?
I'm really sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
It's really dire out here for us, because a lot of people, they only know stereotypes about us, they only know misinformation about us, they don't actually know our own realities. It took me becoming an adult to meet other people like me and realize that we'd always been here and that we're always going to be here. And that's why I think transgender and gender nonconforming visibility is so important and life-saving, because growing up I didn't even know that I was possible. And so I hope that with continued change and progress, people can know that they can not only exist, but that they can thrive. And I hope that people understand that a world in which trans and gender nonconforming people are able to safely present ourselves is a better world for all people, because it gives us more opportunities, more ways to be. And I think that that sense of what I call it being multilingual, that sense of being able to speak many languages of beauty, many languages of gender, actually creates a more enriched society.
Yeah. Well, your enriched way of thinking has been something that's been celebrated, caught the eye. You were the closer for Hannah Gadsby's Netflix stand-up special, Gender Agenda. What was that experience like?
It was so stressful.
I love the honesty. I love the honesty.
I was like, okay, I can't mess up. It's kind of like athletics, because it's like a sport. You only have one time to do it.
Yep.
And if you mess up, if you fumble, it's immortalized forever.
Yeah.
And so much of comedy is about timing. It's about energy in the room. You're like, can I do that again? Oh, wait, I can't.
Yeah.
But it was actually very special because this was the first lineup of all trans and gender nonconforming comics that had been done on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I hope that it can be the change of actually saying, for so long we've been the butt of the joke, but we're actually really funny ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I hope that people can really see. I think there's this stereotype that my community is curmudgeonly or a killjoy, but we're actually quite funny.
Yes.
And so I hope that that broadcasts our delight.
I love that. As we look ahead to Pride Month in June, what does Pride mean to you these days?
Pride means a celebration for being here. So much of my life was living in fear, was a kind of latent sense of dissociation, like, am I allowed to be here? A kind of imposter syndrome for being alive. But what I'm trying to do in my life is to really recognize that every day is a miracle, and to bring that sense of urgency, that sense of vitality into everything I do. So Pride is about not just overcoming shame, but actually embodying joy.
Embodying joy. That is beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I know that it was so, I mean, you were at the show last night. You can go to the show tonight, but I really appreciate you being here and you're sharing and everything you're doing for young people especially.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And just a reminder, there are just a few handful of tickets left for Alok's show tonight, with doors opening at 7 o'clock at the Neptune.